arises from what? From the core banking business, and therefore what? Therefore, it can never be considered as what? Considered as a passive income. That is one of the point that you should bear in mind. This can never be considered to be a case of a passive income. Okay, so that is one of the aspects. So therefore, do expect a question in the examination like Citibank. Citibank, anyways, is not there, but another bank like HSBC, the Hong Kong and Shanghai Bank Corporation, they definitely can target a question on this, and they have done it in the past. You can recall May 2014 attempt wherein one beautiful question that they have targeted for a foreign bank, not to do with taxation, but to do something else. But they are their capability in that question. People are really capable of asking that kind of a question. So consider this: HSBC a foreign bank? For them now, if they have to decide whether HSBC being a foreign bank, whether for them they will be considered as what? They will be considered as a resident or non-resident in India. For that, you will have to follow what? The ABOIA test. So therefore, when HSBC follows the ABOI test, so when the business would be considered to be active, business would be considered to be active when the income is not passive. Consider what is that, students? Wherein that all the income other than business income, and for the bank now, think from that point of view, from a bank now, interest will not be considered part of their passive income. Careful, because problem is that we get conditioned our mind to the general set concept, but suddenly out of blue you find these things comes up, you're not prepared. So mentally be prepared, because why I'm saying so, you are not aware, but I am aware. In transfer pricing, there are maybe a lot of things that will come up which has to do with interest. So on those lines, we have to be a bit careful about. Okay? Yes, as I told you, students, that interest income, if it is a banking company, definitely will not be considered to be a part of your passive income. What about the sale and purchase of goods? Obviously, this is a part of your business income. However, one important point is if you are purchasing the goods from your associated enterprise and the same goods are being sold to whom? Your associated enterprise. Term associated enterprise right now understand the related party, but as you progress further in the topic of transfer pricing, you'll know it is nothing but associated enterprise. You'll come to know about what is exactly this term means. Presently, related party. So in this case, if you are purchasing the goods from a related party and the same goods are being sold to a related party, that also would be considered as part of your passive income. It's not a business. You are purchasing from your relatives, selling the same to your relative. That is not a business. Therefore, any profit that you have earned in that process, that profit also would be considered as a part of your passive income. That point clear to all of you students? Outside India, three tests. One is the asset test, employee test, and the payroll to the employee. These are the three tests which are being given to you, and the presence of these three elements in India, should be less than 50%. Again, be very careful though. These are the things that at the end, students, I'll give you one chart. Once your entire syllabus is through, you'll come to know how dynamic is the provision. In the passive income, you have learned that passive income, if it is up to 50%, up to 50% of the total income, then is the business active or not? Can I repeat? If the passive equal to percent of the total income, that particular case, that the business should be considered equal to, I'm directly targeting Wherein that exactly the if provision the passive income, whatever you have discussed, it is equal to 50% of your total income. That particular case, students, you will say what? The business is it should not be more than 50%. Not be more than 50%. That is the criteria. If it is exactly 50%, it is equal to. Have a look to your page. What is the page of it? That box with it. Less than or equal to was given to you. Highlight on that particular point. Less than or equal to page number 18. Page number 18. Okay. Okay. But what about this other point in this? What about the other point in this? What is the other point that I'm talking about? It? The other point, students, which is there is about the asset in India, number of employees in India, and the payroll which is given to the employees in India should be it is equal to 50%. Then will it be still be considered as outside? Will it still be considered as outside India? Or should it not be considered as outside? In that case, my test will fail. It's exactly 50% means that the India is dominating. What it means for the presence of the payroll, presence of the assets in India, number of employees in India, payroll given to the employees in India should be less than 50%. Only then you will say that active business outside India test is said to be fulfilled. Active business outside India test is said to be fulfilled. Point which I am trying to draw upon is that this less than 50%, up to 50%, up to 2 crores, less than 1 crore, all these at one point of time is on to you for sure. So it's one thing which is going on, right, at a time. Think of it, the entire thing is at time. What is that? Less than 50, equal to 50, less than 2 crores, up more than 2 crores, up to 2 crores, less than 1 crore. All these numberings and all will really be an issue. That is the reason why, students, right now I'm not giving it to you, but I have already prepared those particular tables of all these thresholds which are there. Therefore, at one place, at the end, you will then will look into at the end part. Okay, this is just and I wanted to share with all of you that just keep an eye on these things. Be careful because it is going to definitely a bit of problemsome. Okay, fair enough, students. Therefore, another point, asset test. Talk about it, students. Be careful. Again, where you people will go, where you people are going to fumble, students, I am aware of it. If I now talk to you about some very important part, which is about uh, asset. If you see, then you have a depreciable asset and non-depreciable asset, isn't it? Depreciable asset, you take what? Opening WDV and the closing WDV, and you take the average of it. Opening and closing WDV, you take the average of it. If that foreign country is following the block, take the average of the block opening and closing. If they are not following the block, fair enough, take up the average of the single asset, opening and closing. Single asset, opening and closing. Okay. However, be careful now, students. Very careful on this one. Non-depreciable asset. Take average of opening and depreciation phase will remain the same. For the case of depreciable asset only, because of the depreciation factor, it reduces. Opening and closing changes. Therefore, if you check in this case again, have a look for a non-depreciable asset. What they have said. What is the page number? Page number is 1.18. Any other asset? What they have said? Value as per the books of accounts. That is what they have said it. So it is the value as per the books of accounts that has to be considered. Why is it so? I think the answer is well known, that depreciation only reduces your balances, whereas other than that, non-depreciable asset or the other assets, whatever is the value as on 31st of March, takes that. That point clear to all of you students. Therefore, this is the point. How about the employee? Take opening and closing average. I'm telling to all of you because in the present old course which is going on, there is one elective paper on international taxation. ICI has targeted these average concepts in that. They have targeted the average concept in that. Although I must tell to all of you that this average concept hasn't been targeted up till now in paper number 7. Paper number 4 for all of you. Your new course, it's paper 4. No? So therefore, in paper number 4, it has not been targeted up till now. But I'm telling you again, students, international taxation, ICI always asks you questions. Concepts are very clear on this point. Okay, there is no repetition you will find. Other topics, other than this, there is an element of repetition that you will get it. Come to know. Some point of time, becoming mechanical. Here, it's evolving, it's dynamic. Therefore, just be careful. Employees are there. In that case, average is what has to be. Include part is there. I've told you about that example of Johnson & Johnson, wherein they don't keep it in your payroll, but they employ whom? A manpower supply agency. And through them, you are working for J&J. But may say to your friends that I am an employee of a J&J. State it's one thing, but technically you are not an employee of a Johnson & Johnson. Not in their pay. That's clear. But whether for the purpose of considering that whether these people will they be a part of the employee strength in India? The answer is yes, they will be considered as a part of employee in India. Contractual employee. I hope that all of you are clear with this one, students. These are few points you have to be very careful about it in this case. So, on that, if the active business outside India test satisfies, then the poem is presumed to be outside India, provided what? Majority of the board meetings are held outside India. So 4 board meetings are held of that foreign company. 2 in India, 2 outside India. 4 board meeting students are held of that foreign company, 2 in India and 2 outside India. Then you say that the majority of the board meetings are held outside India. Majority would mean more than, in my example, has to be more than 2. In my example, it has to be more than 2. Just keep that point also in your mind. So if the ABOI test is satisfied, then the poem is presumed to be outside India. The majority of the board meetings are held outside India. Fine, students. However, only in one case, that even if the ABOI is satisfied, even if majority of the board meetings are held outside India, still in one case, the chances are that the poem of that foreign company will be in India. That case will be when the de facto control over that foreign company, is held by whom? Indian resident. by an Indian resident or whom? Or the Indian parents. De facto control. De facto control in one of the question that we have solved, I think John Butler, one question that we were solving, is it a shareholding control? The de facto control, does it mean a shareholding control? Never. It is not the shareholding control, it is the control over the business, control over the management. These are the de facto control. If you have a control over the business, if you have the control over the management, in that situation only that we can say that this Indian company is having a de facto control over that foreign company. However, the mere fact that the Indian company is a holding company of a foreign company, the Indian company is a holding company of a foreign company, does not give rise to what? A de facto control. Does not give rise to a de facto control. I hope that all of you are clear with this point. My students, you have to be very, very careful on these aspects. See, reading now you understand why I am revising this particular point. Now you are exposed to the practical problem. Now you can relate this provision very well. So when you initially, this is one thing, the way you have to revise it, and that is how we are going to revise it. Now, one is what? Learning the provision. The first time when you were learning this provision, these things were never in your mind. Holding company, subsidiary company and all these things never head to your mind. But now, after going through those questions and all, now you are wiser. And if you are wiser now, your henceforth revision should be the de facto control, take a pause. Pause should be what? Pause has to be, is the de facto control of the shareholding or control over the business? Control over the business. Shareholding control, students, gives you only one right, and right is towards the dividend. The second right is at the time of liquidation. What is the second right at the time of liquidation? On the asset of the company. That is it. Does not, because I am a shareholder, therefore I can come to your daily, does in Reliance Industry the shareholder enter into their business or not? They can't. If you may be 10%, 20%, you can't do it. Because you have only a right of dividend or right on the asset at the time of liquidation, nothing else. Keep this in mind. Just some basics which should be carefully known. Nevertheless, let's proceed further, students. If the ABOI test is not satisfied, in that case, please don't jump into a conclusion. But if the ABOI test is not satisfied, is in India, never. The AB, what you need to find out, who is that foreign company? Which foreign company does not satisfy AB? Who is that person in that foreign company which takes that foreign? Where that who and where is identified, and finally is that where in India at say what? Perfect. Okay, so therefore this is how you have to be very careful in terms of what in terms of right, be very clear what exactly you are writing. Now just about that movement, there is one small notification of the CPDT, if you can have a look at your text. There is a small paragraph, 1.15 or maybe small it is there. Just imagine this way, that this particular CBDT, this particular ABY test, really a massive test. It's a massive test, students. ABOI test, which is there, is a really a massive test. Not that every foreign company, just because a lot of things are at stake. ABOI, get the data of all these passive income, etc., etc. All foreign companies Say for example, having a turnover of 5 crore, 10 crore. Okay. Can you tell that foreign company that you have to undergo all that provision of the Indian law relating to A, B, Y and all, and then we decide that foreign company whether you would be considered as a resident in India or not? Can we make them to go through this process of this ABOI data mining? I want all your data relating to your passive income, your any associated enterprise transaction, employees in India, assets, value, depreciation, non-depreciation, etc. This becomes really a challenging ABOI OM concept at a very high level. It was not meant to target small-time foreign companies. It was meant to target the example which I gave you. Example, Tata and Jaguar Motor Car is big foreign company getting acquired by some Indians, and they are effectively getting managed from India for them that they have targeted it. For them that they have targeted it, students, not for the small-time foreign company. And therefore, students, they have given a numerical threshold that to the poem which category of foreign company that the poem concept will be applied to determine the resident status category of foreign company. They have given you a numerical test. What is that numerical test, students? Look, what page number? Are you reading? 117. Page number 1.17, students, if you see 17, that you will find the turnover just above that initial when you start with your poem, this part. Turnover should be how much? So if it is up to 50 crores, may I say in this way, this case therefore, or may I conclude, or maybe it's better that you also will take a note of it in your notebook in this case, and that is in the last year or in the current year? The year. 50 crores turnover. The current financial year. So therefore, whenever they use this, it means it is always current period. So in this case, primarily, any foreign company which is any foreign company should there for them. What shall be the position? Wherein, for you, whether turnover or GR, gross receipt, for the previous year 23-24 is up to rupees 50 crores. That's the question answer. The answer can be yes or no. If it is no, then foreign company shall be considered the resident only. Then its poem is in. Here, if the turnover is up to 50 crore, students, then the old provision will apply. Not be aware of it. What is the old provision? What provision is foreign company shall be considered as a resident in India. When I'm saying resident means resident in India. Shall be considered as resident in India if India its control and management. So management is wholly fully fitted in it. Careful on this one. Sometimes for the turnover of a foreign company or company. Very, very important. Otherwise, I'm telling you, I can bet on this one that no students are even aware of this provision. They may not have even read this provision. That's the beauty of it. And suddenly they jump into poem. Means foreign company, for them it is always poem. Never ever. ICA has not tested it. But ICA also knows, students don't know this. And they will pull the trigger. Therefore, in the question, if at all they give you the turnover of the foreign company for your previous year, which is 23-24, that case, and turnover anything which is not going beyond 50 crores, all provision will be considered to determine their residential status. All provision. What is that? That the turnover should not cross more than rupees. Hope that all of you are clear with this one now, students. That exact point. This is how particular point will be considered wholly. If it is partly in India, partly outside India, the foreign company as a non-resident. If partly, partly outside India, and you will be considering them as a non-resident. I hope that all of you are clear. We now proceed. If you all are clear, any doubts? Anything? Is there an issue on the audio part? Voice breaking. Just let me know. Now it is fine. Can't. Allow me a minute. What is this chapter section? Do let me know. Ram Prinath, if it occurs right now, just do let me know. Okay. Fine, students. Now, one last point, students. Now, before we hit to section number 9, which is the most important section so far as the non-resident taxation is concerned. If you are an individual student, then obviously you are a resident or a non-resident. But resident is further divided into two more categories. Of it. Just the two more categories. Perfect. RNOR and RNNOR. Obviously, there would be some difference, no? Some portion of the income of RNNOR not be taxable in India. some portion of the income of R and NOR will not be taxable in India. Can you tell me which portion of income of R and NOR which will not be taxable in India? Any film stars you are aware of it? Hyderabad also. Not naming them, they deliberately retain the status of R and NOR. Some of them I know of particular in some I do know. Bollywood, they are like Shah Rukh Khan, all they are R. Sometimes Amitabh Bachchan, Rajnikant, they become NR. Deliberately they become NR for some years. Protect their foreign income, get taxed. These are the steps they do and they understand how to do that. Stay in India should be less than money. They manage that way. They have got their homes outside India also. If they do find that yes, I need to ensure that my foreign income should not get taxed in India, they manage their residence. Right now, he can't think of it that case, but they can easily. Nevertheless, some income of R and NOR not be taxed in India. That in you are not in the gun point. So you have to now answer. It's a good attempt. Think of it faintly. When I say recall, means whatever you could have recalled should interest you. Whatever you can recall in the interest you. I should also know na, what I'm up against. I think right now it's fine. I have asked just